You know, maybe if we can't free slaves by using the courts, maybe if we can't free slaves by our votes, maybe we should free the slaves by giving them guns. Let them free themselves. This is the raid on Harper's Ferry. This is where abolitionist John Brown tried to start a slave revolt. And this attack happened October 16th through 18th in 1859, just a couple years before the American Civil War starts. You see, John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry was an 1859 effort by abolitionist John Brown to start an armed slave revolt in the South. And he was going to do this by taking over a United States Army arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia. This has been called the dress rehearsal, the practice run for the American Civil War. Brown's group of 22 was defeated by a company of United States Marines led by First Lieutenant Israel Green. Several of those present at the raid would later be involved in the Civil War. Colonel Robert E. Lee was in overall command of the operation to retake the arsenal. Robert E. Lee is going to be the top general of all the Southern armies in the American Civil War. And here he is, before the Civil War, putting down a slave revolt. Stonewall Jackson and Jeb Stuart were part of the troops guarding the arrested Brown, and John Wilkes Booth was a spectator at his execution. John Brown had originally asked Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, both of whom he had met in his transformative years as an abolitionist in Springfield, Massachusetts, to join him in his raid, but Tubman was prevented by illness, and Douglass straight up just declined, as he believed that Brown's plan was going to fail. It did fail, and John Brown was executed for treason. So, I said that Robert E. Lee was there. This is him. In the actual Civil War, he's the overall commander of the Confederate armies. His title was General-in-Chief. Stonewall Jackson, later in the Civil War, he is the most effective Southern general in the early parts of the Civil War. They almost straight up won. The South almost won at the beginning of the war. And a lot of those victories were when the South was at an overwhelming disadvantage, outnumbered by massive numbers of troops for the North. And Stonewall Jackson kept winning. And a lot of people said that once Jackson was killed, that was a huge blow to Lee, because Lee desperately relied on Jackson's pure talent and skill. Jeb Stuart, he was Lee's cavalry commander and basically was the eyes and ears of Robert E. Lee's army. John Wilkes Booth, if you don't already know, is the assassin that kills Abraham Lincoln in Ford's Theater, April 14th, 1865. So, basically, this is a raid which began when Brown and his men took over the arsenal at Harper's Ferry. They wanted to start a slave rebellion. Brown was ordered to be hanged for this uprising. Was it effective? What do you think? I hope you're learning, and I hope you're having fun.